Portland, Maine, everybody. 5:30 p.m. and we have a late season matchup with the Milwaukee Monarchs, 1-3 against the 1-4 Portland Rising. My name's Chuck. I'm joined by Brunch in the booth, and we're excited for everybody to join us.
Chuck, it is very, very exciting to be here today to watch these two teams compete as they close out their seasons. Portland Rising playing at home today in beautiful Portland, Maine. We have a nice sunny day, probably the greatest weather day we've had for a Portland Rising game in its history. A little bit windy today, but we are excited nonetheless.
A little eye of the tiger as they play on the screen, as they play on the speakers here, and players certainly have the eye of the tiger today. Brunch, do you have any players you're looking for on either team?
Yeah. So we went down on the field to start the game here today. Talked to the coaches, got a feel for the conditions, for the atmosphere, and watching the players warm up. And from what we know, we have some exciting players to look out for today. On the Monarch side of the disc, I'd be looking out for number 9, Cassie Brown, who's going to be one of the scorers. And on the Rising side, a whole list of, I think, on the offensive end, we're going to see the disc move through five stones. Who has huge plays this year. Colette Pellegrini is in offensive.
This is not necessarily, but a young Monarchs team coming back. They're coming up first week. Columbus a couple weeks. They're second. Have a similar situation.
Yeah, matchup in history in the Milwaukee. It's a long Monarchs. A lot of today's day and age to travel one game, but I think the Monarchs are, and I don't think that they're young is going
to start to fill in for both teams prior to a national Dogs game today, Brunch. Little Dogs game
who are unfamiliar with. We don't have it. This is only professional sport in the city. Yeah. We have a lot of, baseball, hockey, basketball, and right next door to us, you'll probably see the camera pan over at some point during the game, is the Portland Sea Dog Stadium, the AA affiliate for the Boston Red Sox. But nonetheless, we don't have a professional team. We do have a strong semi-professional presence, and the city is really proud of the sports teams that we do have, including the Portland Rising. We look down below at the fans here cheering the players coming on the field. Always a very strong fan section here in Portland, and a very strong beer garden to get those fans ready to go.
Mass Landing providing the delicious beverages there.
We talked a little bit before the game about, what brings these two cities together, Milwaukee and Portland. And you could make the argument that it's the beer. It's the battle of the breweries, if you will.
As much as I like the locally sourced beverages, there's nothing like a Budweiser.
And as the players go through their introduction, we'd like to shout out our sponsor, Discraft Ultimate. The Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports.
Now, we talked to the coaches pregame brunch. We learned a lot about how these teams like to play. We know, as you said, there's some wind up there, probably gusting around, what did you say, 12 miles an hour today? Probably going to see some zone defense, and that seems like something the Monarchs are pretty familiar with and comfortable with.
Yeah, speaking to Coach DJ on the Monarch side, this year they instituted a new zone defense that they call baseball, where you're going to see a diamond cup that is preventing throws from going up the middle of the field. So Portland's going to have their hands full. They're going to have to move the disc up the sidelines, which will be a challenge in this wind, and I'm excited to see, looking forward to seeing how they attempt to do that and cut through the Monarch zone. On the Portland side of the disc, I think we're going to see a lot of junkie sets, and for those that may not be familiar with that terminology, they're going to be very free-flowing on the defensive end. The players are going to kind of have a space that they are trying to get in the way of and affect the thrower's decisions. So again, the wind's going to be paramount to both of these defenses. I think we're going to see a lot of turns, and this game's going to come down to who can possess the disc better.
That's right. And this is a sport of self-officiating. As we continue with the introductions, they introduced our observers, Gunnar and Ian, down on the sideline, and they're going to help out today with the calls, it sounds like.
Yeah, and Gunnar and Ian are staples here in the Ultimate community in Maine. As we pause here for the disc flip.
Still waiting on word.
Rising has won the flip and will be pulling from the left side of the field.
All right, as Rising wins the disc flip, and they're going to be pulling from the left. If you missed that on TV, they'll start on defense, and we'll see what the Monarchs have.
As the teams make their ways to the sideline to huddle and begin the game, we want to shout out our other sponsor, Spin Ultimate. This live broadcast of Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Spin Ultimate. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. That's S-P-I-N ultimate.com. Thank you, Spin, and thank you to Discraft, our other sponsor. It's always a loose crowd here in Portland. We had the beer garden opening up early to let the fans get loose. They come to the stands. We play some fun music. The Portland and the Maine Ultimate scene is one of the stronger Ultimate scenes in the country, and I may be biased, but everything from the youth level all the way through to the professional team here we see in front of us today, there's a lot of opportunities for play, a lot of opportunities for growth, and the community is one that likes to have fun like many other Ultimate communities, with a lot of fun events going on throughout the year. So it really is fitting to have a professional team playing up here in Portland.
As we just get off of New England D1 Men's Regionals, which we called some great games. Tough Northeastern sticks out to me.
Yeah.
It's a great one, but plenty of Ultimate opportunities up here and more to come.
Right. New England's always been a strong area of the country for Ultimate, and Portland Rising are the only New England area women's team in this in the PUL. So it's fitting to have them up here in Maine.
You can see the tent moving on the sideline there. That is a great view of how the wind might affect today's game.
The wind is a pretty steady left to right. As Chuck said, it's somewhere between 10 and 20 miles an hour today. So we're going to see a lot of upwind, downwind type play. Rising won the toss and will be pulling downfield to start, hoping to get that early break.
A lot of those warm-ups today for both teams were throwing upwind. Putting in a loose mark, trying to throw an in-cut upwind, which we know well can go right over the cutter's head.
Coaching today for the Portland Rising side, you see there making his way off the field, is Ryan Cardinal. He's joined by Eva Fury and Ethan Fortune. We also, on the Milwaukee Monarchs side, have Caitlin Murphy, head coach, and DJ Huang as the assistant coach. As Chuck mentioned, our observers today are Gunnar Heckler and Ian McClelland.
Chloe Rouse ready to get things going with a pull from the end zone. And we're off. Great pull up the left side, downwind, as the Monarchs take over on offense. Up to Duffner, trying to lead this handler squad.
And there is the early turn.
Quick turnover.
I dare say a Mark-generated turn there with the wind. So Rising picks up right on the goal line.
Looking for a quick score. Layout gets it.
And there's an early score for Rising and an early break. Just as they planned, winning the toss, getting the downwind pull to start the game, and the break. 1-0 Rising.
Gene Wong with the score there. Quick, as you said, mark-generated turn. And you're a big fan of those mark-generated turns.
Yeah, as we enter an era of Ultimate with more stat keeping, both through the professional leagues and at the higher club levels, we're going to get a lot more. Analytics entering the game, and I think one of the analytics that I like to look at is mark-generated turns. So things like hand blocks or foot blocks in the mark, stalls, or just throws that are affected by a strong mark. When you get mark-generated turns, typically you're going to get the disc up further to the end zone for an easier break chance. And I think mark-generated turns are directly proportional to effort on defense. So you can tell when a defense is focused and focusing on their marks, it's going to lead to more turns and more breaks.
So we see Rising trying to move quickly here, already getting the pull off. Mac going upwind there. That was a quick stoppage. Not a lot of talk on the sideline.
Does look like a similar defensive line here for the Rising.
Almost like a two-person cup, it looks like. As the Monarchs try to come off a little hotter than what they just did on the other end.
So speaking with Coach Ryan Cardinal on the Rising side pre-game, they said they would be in a junk and then transition to person, which is what they've done now. They're in a person defense, forcing the disc away from us.
And like you said, keep an eye on 19, Emily Cohen, in the cutter position. Going to be looking to score early and often. Working it up the left-hand side. Duffner looking for the strike.
There's a call in the field.
Still waiting. Still waiting.
And a score.
Score, Monarchs. 1-1, 2 downwind points.
That's a great response by the Monarchs. Tough early turn on the first pull, but they gather themselves and work it downwind and score cleanly to tie the game up 1-1. So far, it looks like we have Eileen Duffner doing a lot of the offensive handling on the Monarch side. It does seem like the Portland Rising are amped up and ready to go. That D-line was not allowing any easy looks for the Monarch O.
Couple close D's there, just an inch off both times. Haven't seen a lot of Rising offense. Quickly had it on the goal line, so I'm looking forward to see what they come out with here. I'm assuming the Monarchs are going to throw that baseball zone of theirs. Downwind, I would still guess they'd throw it. Seems like that's something they come out with often. So let's expect that as they pull off. Up to about the 50-yard line here. Rising's going to take out midfield. Around all the way to the right. Good movement of the disc there. Looking deep with no luck.
Portland Rising came out aggressive there, working it up the sideline and over the Monarch defenders, but there was an open Rising player in the end zone. Unfortunately, the throw was just a little short. And so now the Monarchs are stuck in probably the hardest place to be on the field, the corner on the downwind side of the field. See if they can get any yards here, and there's a quick turn.
Just off the hands as Sydney French tries to move that off the sideline. Rising take over at the goal line again. Score again.
Looks like that was number 37 Hannah Henkin throwing the score. Well,
a lot of downwind points.
Yep, just as we expected. The disc wants to fly in one direction, and when you think about it, it's not just hard. It's not just that it's hard to play offense; it's that it becomes easier to play defense because the wind is acting like an eighth defender for the team.
You play such good defense, Brett. Sometimes people call you the eighth defender, just for being all over the field. In this case, it's the wind. Chloe Rouse, standing ovation coming off the field there.
It looks like we do have a few the newer faces on this line, including Evie and Sam Munson, both Portland natives.
Evie, a high school, college, and professional Maine Ultimate native. Good to see that.
Munson, on the other hand, picked up Ultimate after college and
is crushing it,
as she's the first one down the field using her athletic ability. So far, it looks like the Monarchs have come out and spread the field out, playing a horizontal style of offense. Rising coming out here playing tight person deep. And there's a shot for the end zone.
Cassie Brown finds one deep.
And a great catch.
Cassie Brown with a big flick there, and statistically she's the one to look for when she has the disc in her hands. Going to try to make those big plays like that, and does so there to give them a great point downwind again.
And this is Cassie's first year playing in the PUL, but seems very confident at this point in the season, handling the disc and allowing the offense to run through her, which will be,
to guess who, Emily Cohen.
There you go, which will be critical. You know, they may not have all the, the results may not be showing this year with the 1-3 record, but they are coming off a win, which shows me that they are getting better. And with these young players, it takes a little while to pick up the feel for the game in this professional environment.
And they certainly practice, but with only 4 games under their belt, it's tough to build that chemistry.
So we are still waiting for our first upwind possession. So far, the disc has been predominantly on the other side of the field.
In that baseball triangle zone, trying to eliminate that up the middle cut, which we've seen a couple in a row from the Rising.
We hear a fire call as the Monarchs fall out of their zone defense and into more of a person defense.
Turnover, just a drop disc there as the Monarchs tried to be the first ones to score upwind.
And what I'd like to see here is get some movement downfield. You know, the Portland defenders are, oh, there's a turn. The Portland defenders are forcing the Monarch cutters out. And I'd much rather see a throw go up and have a turn downfield as opposed to a turn like that right on the end zone line, making it very easy for the Portland Rising to score.
Hanahan gets it off the line and gets it back. Looking for a backhand around score. Gets it.
To the break side for a wide open.
Some quick scores here. A lot of turnovers by the end zone going upwind. Maybe that's the nerves of getting stuck down there, knowing you have to go all the way up the field up with this wind in your face.
Yeah, and I like to call this early part of the game kind of a feel out. The players are feeling the wind, getting their nerves under them, getting up to game speed. And as I said, they're kind of at the end of that point before the score. I'd like to see a team challenge the deep space going upwind. You know, the disc's not going to travel as far. It's a tougher throw, but it's one that if you can complete, you're kind of out of that dead zone where the wind's just blowing in your face and you're on your own end zone, where any turn is going to result in a quick score for the other team.
Mac pulling for the Rising again upwind. Great one there.
And that's what I'm talking about, right? We can get the pull up about 60 yards. It'd be nice to see that's upwind. Be nice to see.
Yeah, Mac having no problem getting those backhands down there.
Having a handler get into a little bit of a power position and try to force it up the wind. And it looks like Rising's in their junkie set here.
Cohen moving it up the line.
And
another quick turn.
The junk set leads to a turn there.
Rising taking over at about the 30. Brunch really wants to see a deep look here as they get it around to Rouse.
Similar here, it seems like the Monarchs are happy with forcing the Rising cutters out, away from the disc, which makes sense with the wind, but at some point you got to challenge. And
good layout there by Mac.
See if you can make something happen out of it.
Mac, who has the big throws on this line, maybe looking to make something happen. Nice inside out flick there with Rouse on the sideline. Back to Mac.
The Rising is able to work the disc across half field, going upwind. That's the first time we've seen that this game. So again, as we mentioned, I think the feel out points are kind of coming to the end here as we get into more of a flow.
Mac with a flick up the middle, getting closer to that end zone line. Evie with the strike cut. Oh, just missed out of the hands on the layout.
I like what I saw there from Rising, moving the disc upwind. Let's see if they can get a quick turn here and keep that field position.
They were really playing that well. Didn't look like the wind was affecting them there. Duffner looking for the dump there. Gets it to her. Back to Cassie, maybe looking for another big shot. Takes it. Makes it.
What a great read by the Monarch cutter.
Cassie with her second big flick in a row. Put it in the perfect spot.
That was the number 5, Rose Glinka. Reading that disc great, keeping the defender behind her. And coming down for the score in the corner.
That's a professional throw.
Sure is.
That's why they're out there.
Cassie seems very comfortable playing against this Rising defense.
Just out of the hands of Evie Clement there. And here's the big flick. All the way to the back of the end zone, letting that wind take it. Great read by the offense, too.
That's such a hard play to make for a defender with the disc kind of coming over your head, being blind to it.
Whoever's on the ox, as the kids say, is doing a great job today. Can't help but dance up here in the booth. Little T Swift, recently in New England at Gillette.
Hurricane Swift came sweeping through New England. So far, just trading points here. Rising, we're probably the closest to come to breaking upwind or scoring upwind. Let's see if the Monarchs can settle in on defense here.
Looking for a big backhand score. Layout gets it.
That was an
unbelievable
awesome
play there.
Play. The toss from Yuga Zhao.
And I believe that's Colette for Rising, who's wearing 25.
The playmaker of this team.
With the playmaker, we did ask them, and they gave us their players to look for, but they gave us a playmaker, a Marcus Smart, if you will, and that was Colette, number 25, who's made a couple big plays already today.
Yeah, and Rising's offense is an experienced bunch. They've been playing Ultimate across New England in both the women's and mixed divisions, and I think the real strength of the offense comes from sort of their initiation, intermediate hybrid cutters there, like Yuga, who was able to get open underneath and then turn around and make a great pinpoint throw for the score, putting it only where her teammate can get it.
We saw the Rising move it up well. Still waiting on our first upwind point, though.
I have a feeling it might be this one right here. Rising feeling confident.
547, left.
The other thing to keep an eye out is, as this game progresses, it is warm out there. Both these teams have been playing in colder, tougher weather all season. And so the Monarchs traveling across the country, they only have a few subs. So as this game progresses, we'll see if they can hold up conditioning-wise.
Can really see that on the sideline view here. Around to Cassie, who seemingly has her eyes open for a big flick play at all times. Duffner trying to get it off the line. Big around. And here's where Rising needs to step up and maybe score one upwind.
And there's what I'm talking about. Another mark-generated turn, with that turn happening in a powerful position for the upwind break as opposed to downfield.
Miscommunication there between Cutter and Handler as the Monarchs take over at their own end line.
And if I'm the Monarchs here, I am looking to turn it downwind on the other side of the field. Not like they just did there, allowing Rising with the opportunity to break.
If there's one person who can get all the way down there, it's... Oh, that's a quick turn for Cassie as Rising jumps the in-cut.
And that is Liv player making that interception. Let's see if Rising can settle down here. They've been on the end zone a few times. No! Maybe they settled down, but that was an unbelievable layout block.
You can settle down as much as you want, but that'll get you every time. What a play. Didn't catch who that was, but that was unbelievable.
Is that Austin Prucha?
And we have a call on the field here, Brunch. Looks like it got... I was going to say looks like it got resolved pretty quickly, but observer comes in and makes sure everything's all set. Boy, a lot of good defense we're seeing. Jumping routes. We've seen plenty of Ds this point and some that are just a few inches off. Deep look. Munson there for the Rising to make a defensive play.
Rising have shown that they have no problem working the disc upwind at this point. It's just that last throw, settling down, you know, not letting the excitement get to you. And there's a nice upwind huck by Liv player.
Player looking for the end zone. Tipped up, and down. I like the shot, though.
Yeah, like I said, right, we got to take those shots, and if we're going to turn it, we got to turn it down by the end zone. Make it hard for that offense. Make them work it up the whole field.
Yep. Monarchs can certainly do so, as they're going to try to right now. Portland in a hard person defense. Seemed to work out for them so far this point.
That's
and it works out again.
Yeah, and I think that's a case of the Monarch players being a little fatigued on this long point. With that horizontal type offense, it really... Timeout called.
I thought we had a score there. Munson snuck behind the defense.
Unlike regular club level ultimate in the PUL, the timeout can come from the sideline, and the team can substitute. So that's a smart call. The Rising D-line had a few opportunities to get the break upwind. Sideline calls the timeout. They're going to most likely sub in their offense to punch it in for the upwind break.
Do you like that timeout call there? Was that done by a coach, do you think?
Yep. I believe Ryan Cardinal on the sideline is the coach on the Rising side who has the timeout flag or whistle. They handle it differently in different games. Maybe
he just saw a couple good looks that were passed up on offense, settled down a little bit, talk to the team about a good out-of-timeout play that they can run to punch one in, because they've had a couple opportunities already at this point with no luck. And this is a big one upwind.
Yeah, I think he's really trying to substitute the O-line in to stay patient, run the end zone set, and punch it in.
We'll see if that works out for them.
They have Aaron Ray at the front of the stack here and Sophie Knowles at the back. Both athletic, long cutters. And Rising's going to work it through their handlers here, which is typical of an end zone set. Looks like it slipped out there.
Yeah. Maybe saw an opening that closed really quickly. Tried to keep it in her hand, couldn't do so. Another big shot, and Rising's going to have to work this thing all the way back up. And the Monarchs talked to us earlier about, we asked players to watch for, and they said, well, we have players all over the field. We want to move that disc as much as possible. And the couple points we've seen, or a couple plays we've seen this point, they may be going away from that, where they're taking their shots and not sticking to their guns and moving that disc through everybody frequently and often, which is what they normally do, resulting in turnovers.
Rising seems comfortable working the disc up the break side here, and there's a break side huck.
Big shot.
To Aaron Ray in the end zone for the score.
What a backhand and what a play by Aaron Ray to get to that disc. And that's a big point upwind for the Portland Rising.
And that sets them up for the downwind D point to get their third break. So that's the critical upwind break that's going to open this game up.
That's a huge play and good timeout there for Cardinal. Well used.
I think Portland Rising had about 5 opportunities on that point to break upwind. You can tell that they're confident they can work the disc up that way, as they should be. We have windy conditions here in Portland often, so a lot of these players are used to playing in those conditions. And we'll see how the Monarchs respond, as they have yet to show that they have any confidence working it upwind.
Crowd is involved here in Portland.
This is the signature Rise Up dance that we do here in Portland, led by...
Gets the people going, that's for sure.
Led by Jenny O'Connell, the fan ambassador for the Portland Rising. Great pull all the way down the field for Rising as they pick up right around 15 yards from the end zone, and another quick turn on the second throw like we saw to start the game.
And here's that second break in a row you were just talking about. Portland moving it back. I was about to say being patient with the disc, but...
Yeah, tough turn there from Olivia Hampton.
As the Monarchs maybe try to get an upwind point of their own with a deep backhand.
And I like that look, right? Like I've been saying all game, you got to take those attempts, and you'd rather turn it on the opposite sideline with this wind than on your own end zone. So they're showing that they're willing to take that look, and that's going to make the Portland defense respect it.
Good layup at Bacall. Maybe went through the offensive player to get to that, as we have a Portland Rising player down.
And we do have about 19 seconds here on the clock. The way this is going to work in the PUL, you are able to finish the possession for the first, second, and third quarter. And after the time ends, and it's either a score or a turn, and then the quarter is over and we go to a break. In the fourth quarter, however, it is a buzzer beater type attempt where once the time winds down, the play is over.
You ever see a buzzer beater?
Not in the PUL, not in the 3 years of its existence.
Maybe we'll be lucky enough to see one tonight.
Sure would be exciting.
Wouldn't hate to see one later on at about 8:30 from Jason Tatum.
And there's, yeah, I was thinking that.
Trying to force
hopefully from the
Game
Celtics
7.
side. Apologies to all the Milwaukee fans out there who had to see their team get bounced by this.
Unbiased commentary here, but those Heat are no joke.
The Celtics will probably be next, so we'll be in the same boat.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way we can relate these two teams.
Yeah.
Battle of the breweries, battle of the inferior basketball teams.
Both have Himmy Butler in our nightmares. Still trying to get that call on the field resolved. Unfortunately, we had a Portland Rising player that had to get carried off. Going to be seen by our local trainers here, and hopefully seen back on the field here shortly. Now, what do you think they're discussing here? It looks like there was pretty clear contact, and maybe they don't agree.
My guess is as good as yours, Chuck. I didn't see that play too cleanly from our distance, but anytime a player gets hurt with a bid like that, it usually means it wasn't fully clean, and it looks like there was a turn there. Or sorry,
no.
It looks like Rising will retain possession of the disc.
Yep. Looks like there was a call, as they have full field remaining to work this downwind.
That was a nice little touchy throw from Yuka Xiao.
Evie able to track that one down over the shoulder, looking like a young Randy Moss as she gets it back. Maybe looking to take a shot here. Certainly capable of it.
There's no need here, right? Rising can be patient with the disc because once there's a turn, this quarter is over, and the Monarchs will not have an attempt.
That's a great call. Your offense probably changes drastically in these situations, and if you've played Ultimate at any level, you would have never dealt with this. As Rouse looks to punch one in from the sideline. Strike cut. Gets it.
This is an important break for Rising as they're making their way downwind. I don't know exactly where they're going to start the next quarter at, but that's
Rouse.
That's how you take care of business to end the quarter. Rising 6, Monarchs 3. 3 breaks up as we end the first quarter.
That's a great start for the Portland Rising. Good to get that upwind point out of the way. Monarchs are still looking for theirs.
Here's the replay. Nice, just basically no mark. Open space. 1, 2, 3, 4 for the score. And we will step away here at the end of the first quarter and be back with you shortly.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
Raise your hand and say hi to them. If anyone has any questions, that's the guy to go to. He would be happy to talk to you.
And welcome back to Portland, Maine for this matchup between the Rising and the Monarchs. Currently, Rising is up by 3 breaks, leading 6-3. We'd like to take a moment to recognize Spin Ultimate. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Spin Ultimate. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com.
Good jerseys. You ever wear a Spin Ultimate jersey?
I did, yes. My first Nationals appearance in college, Spin had some good gear there, and I got a tank top that I wear on the beach now in the summertime.
Subtle flex there. First.
Yep.
Not last. We're still keeping the doors open.
Oh, the doors are always open. And that end of that first quarter was critical for Rising as the time wound out and they were able to get a downwind break. And here they go, starting the second quarter, again with an opportunity to move downfield for an easy score.
What a great roll pull from the Monarchs there, too. Gets it all the way to the 30. We haven't seen a pull that far upwind yet today. Maybe that's the key. As they're in their baseball zone, again, looking to keep everything out of the middle of the field. Maybe didn't do a great job of that in the first quarter, but hopefully can tighten things up here going forward.
Rising is moving it quick. Again, the strength of this Rising offense is the ability of, their primary initiation type cutters to get open and feel comfortable with the disc in their hands. But right there we see a turn as Lauren Bacher is not able to hold on to it.
And we'll start in play this time for the Monarchs. Around to Mackenzie Carpenter. Looking for a flick up the middle. Gets it. Great play there by the Monarchs. Maybe looking to take a shot. Couple open deep cuts. No luck and a quick turn.
That was some lockdown handler defense by Sophie Knowles.
Great mark defense there. You're right. She gets it back. Maybe looking to do something on offense.
Sophie Knowles feeling it. Getting the catch D on the handler person defense and throwing it for the score to Yuga Zhao.
Couple of those players you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast to keep your eyes on. They're showing why they are. Good layout there on the recording.
That was not Lauren Beecher. Tough to see the numbers from our vantage point, but
no excuses.
no excuses. I hate myself for saying that. Rising lead 7-3 here. Substantial lead, but still very early. Only the second quarter here, and I think the Monarchs are showing that they're able to move the disc upwind, but I don't think their confidence level is quite there on the same level as the Rising, who have now shown who have the only upwind score so far today.
As a team who has to travel a lot for their tournaments, there's nothing quite like sleeping in your own bed before an ultimate game too, so maybe some advantage with the whole home team play here for the Rising.
Definitely.
Cassie looking to get that disc back and throw a signature flick huck as the Monarchs get it into the middle of the field.
There's
Good
the
D
turn.
by Mac from Portland Rising.
Nothing coming easy to the Monarchs. High stall count throws, contested attempts downfield, and Mac wastes no time throwing it up to Liv player who unable to run it down.
That is, like you said, those deep shots, Mac just showed you. I mean, she can throw that upwind flick just about 60 yards there.
Yeah, and if I'm the Rising, I'm doing that every time I have the upwind opportunity. Especially if that's what the Monarchs are going to give you.
And exactly right. And you punt it down there in hopes that you have better field position on the next one, and that's exactly what they got.
Well, it's that, that saying of that strategy of punt and play D. Usually you punt downwind, but in this situation, I have no problem punting it upwind.
Back to player, looking to get one in the end zone. Mac, strike cut, back to the around. Trying to move it to the break side.
Last time the Rising D-line was here, they weren't
What a
able to
throw.
score, but this time they were. Oh, not in. Called not in by Lauren Beecher, making that.
There you go, Brunch.
There's the score from Lauren Beecher.
And
That's
Mac
just-
all over the place on that point. Great D, great flick huck attempt, and then finally punches one in. That was a tough break flick. Hopefully we can see that on the broadcast here in a second, but Mac had a great point, which we thought was initially a score, or a great flick that we thought was initially a score. You might be able to see it right here. That is not an easy throw.
Yeah, Lauren Beecher's able to get down low and scoop that disc up.
Not an easy catch either.
So now we have an 8-3 lead for the Portland Rising, which is a problem for the Monarchs because it doesn't seem like they're able to get anything going really on the offensive side. Early turns.
Yeah, I mean, they had those downwind points, and we're no longer even seeing them able to move that downwind, so that is a bit concerning, as Portland seemingly has no problem going upwind now. And the wind has seemed to die down a little bit as the night continues, so maybe we see the Monarchs taking shots as well up the field.
You do have to give the Rising defense credit, though. They're coming out in these junky sets, letting the Monarchs move the disc a little bit and get comfortable, but then they are getting really, really tight on the person defense.
That's a great point.
Which is making the Monarchs freeze up a little bit and throw these high stall throws that are, going into poaches or just not on target.
Open deep cut, a little bladey.
Seemed like it was rushed a little bit. Looks like that was number 76 cutting deep. Emma Palacio. I think the thrower could have held on one more second because there didn't seem to be a defender chasing her.
There's that Cassie deep flick.
Oh, that's a great
defensive play. Really good.
That was textbook.
2-on-1.
She found the body, established some contact to know where the player she was covering was, then found the disc and made the play on the disc. Can't teach it any better than that.
Chloe Rouse, a couple steps on that deep one.
Rising's rushing these throws a little bit, which is leading to these turns. I think they can be a little bit more patient on offense. This is probably the closest that I was going to say that was the closest that the Monarchs have been to that upwind score, but again, it's just an unforced error there.
Heavy hustling on that deep cut, had some space, decided to holster it. Maybe a good idea after those couple quick turns. I say that, but it doesn't get much more open for the Rising. Just over the fingertips.
Fortunately out of reach for...
Again, you see someone that open, you just want to get the disc out of your hands as fast as possible, and I've seen a couple errant throws on wide open deep looks for the Rising. As Cassie takes over for the Monarchs with another deep flick.
And a catch.
A good catch over
There you go,
Rouse.
just like that. They're at half field as opposed to potentially turning it on their own side. And another look, but
Goodness.
another great D. Rising are doing a good job. You know, they're forcing the Monarchs out, and now the Monarchs are taking those shots, but Rising are getting down there and making plays.
Quick turn after turn after turn there. Maybe slow things down. Wouldn't hate to see a timeout by the Monarchs, especially when you get it in good field position like they just did. We saw Cardinal do that in the first quarter. Worked very well for the Rising. Maybe something to think about going forward.
You know, and on this point already, we've seen two Portland Rising cutters wide open downfield.
And this might be where you want to slow things down and get a plan going. They're going to go right into it. Cassie taking over.
This is the Monarchs O-line, working upwind.
Disc is up off a layout and down again. Suffocating defense from the Rising.
And there's a timeout. The flag thrown in the corner by Ryan Cardinal of the Rising. He's going to slow it down, probably substitute the O-line on, and get a clean score downwind for the break.
I like the substitution. I like the timeout. Even though you have your O-line in for the Monarchs, a lot of turns, this has been a long point. Maybe get some fresh legs in there, or at least a plan when you get set up on the goal line like they just did. But again, look at those flicks there from Cassie. We've been seeing her throw those all day long. Look great, but the Rising defense is just too good. And a couple shots of their own that go out of the fingertips. Looks like there were some substitutions for both teams. A couple new lineups here. See if those fresh legs can pay off for either team. And maybe if you're the Monarchs, maybe go a little bit more defensively on the line. As they're in a junky zone, looking like they're forcing that sideline, trying to keep them there.
And Sophie Knowles is streaking deep. She is
Wide
a
open.
great deep threat, but the Rising unable to hit her. And I'm sure she'll keep attacking that deep space knowing that she can get open.
And there she is. Has another one open too.
She throws a backhand.
Beautiful put. Beautiful put.
And a score.
Just like you said, Knowles found herself open. She looked like she was open for the most of that possession there, and puts together a great backhand look deep.
Portland Rising attacking the deep space as they should be, going downwind with some of their taller cutters. First, Sophie not thrown to. She comes under, doesn't quit, gets the disc, and then ends up throwing it to the second tall cutter, and Aaron Ray. It's a great cycling offense and unselfish.
Keep saying live player in the cutting space as well. Hard not to think about another live player, Brooks Koepka. Good to see him back on the leaderboard.
And this is a tough position to be in for the Monarchs. On the road, never having played in the city before. You know, a lot less players to play, right? Smaller roster. How do they respond? And I think that's the beauty of Ultimate, is that it's 1 point at a time, and I think for them mentally they need to focus on scoring on this point and doing it one after the other, as opposed to thinking about the score or thinking about, 3 or 4 points from now.
And we have a beautiful day here in Portland, but both of these teams probably aren't used to 80 degrees and sunny.
No.
And you have a small lineup like that, maybe taken away from how fresh everybody is.
And another turn with a great defensive play by Liv player on that undercut,
just running through that disc on defense,
beating the offensive player to the disc. And we've seen Mac take a few shots, as has Liv.
Wouldn't be surprised to see another one.
Sam Munson gets open under. And a Mark generated turn with that hand block from the Monarchs player.
Brunch is keeping those stats. Sam Munson, a Patrick Beverly-like player for the Rising.
You really love your basketball, Chuck.
It's the only analogies I can make with any confidence. Mac up the sideline. Looked like she wanted a big flick there. Decides to dump it in to Liv instead. Gets the around off as they move it to the other side of the field where Mac takes over.
We've seen Mac make a number of impressive throws today.
Very active in the handler cutter space too. Great strike cut. Catches the disc, immediately gets rid of it, gets rewarded by getting it back and an assist.
And another upwind break for the Rising.
Mac's been a key to this Rising offense today in the handler space, making those deep looks.
Yep.
And then, D-line offense. Yeah, good call. And
Rising's been playing a lot of D-line, though, and getting a lot of turns, so we've seen a lot of offense out of them.
And their D-line offense looks great. And this is a big win for either team, right? Both coming in with only one. This is
last game for the Rising, so finishing off on a win would be a good note. Monarchs have one more game, a home game, that they're going to be playing in Madison. A couple hours away from Milwaukee.
Great college town.
And a lot of these players in the Monarch squad are from the Madison area. There's a good mix. Some are from Milwaukee, some from Madison. As it happens, this Portland Rising team has a lot of players from Boston and other parts of New England. An incredible pull deep by Chloe Rouse. Lands out of bounds, which, again, I guess I haven't mentioned it on this broadcast yet, but I've no problem with pulls going out of bounds if they're deep, because now the Rising defense is set.
Cassie takes over, who we've seen a lot of. Not a one-sport athlete either. On a nice day like today, you might see her unicycling around the neighborhood. It's probably where she gets that great balance on the field.
You ever unicycle, Chuck?
No. For the safety of myself, I've never tried. That's out of my wheelhouse, but not for Cassie. And neither is a deep flick look, which we might see. Tries to get the disc, can't. Rising again with an almost great defensive effort.
Monarchs putting together a string of completions, which, of course, as I say, leads to an incompletion and a turn.
Sam Munson getting in the way there on defense.
Rising is stretching the field. I think they've noticed that the Monarchs are getting a little tired and giving them that space, and they're challenging deep. And there is a throw to Munson, who lays out and is just unable to get it.
Just under the hands. Good look, and just like you said, another deep look for the Rising. Those are open cuts, though.
Oh, definitely. Really, at this point, it's the matter of the Monarchs stopping the bleeding. They haven't scored here in a little while. Haven't scored in the second quarter.
7-0 run for the Rising.
Ever since that first upwind break, it's almost like they shattered the Monarchs' confidence.
Another great defensive effort there. They are running through these cuts, Brunch. On defense, that is.
Rising smell blood and are going for the turns. Going for the D's.
Hit call on the field.
Smelling blood just like the sharks off the coast of our New England waters.
Boy, let's hope not. Big shark fan, but not when I'm in a wetsuit. Something about my body looks just like a seal.
You said it.
Rising take back over.
The Monarchs are possessing the disc here. They're just unable to do it long enough to score. And that's the name of the game.
Rouse looking for a round. Instead gets an open side cut. Monarch playing better downfield defense here. Round to Clement. Tracks it down, but a call. Pick call, maybe?
Reminder that play will continue until Portland Rising scores or there is a turn.
Once again, we're in a situation here where Rising is working downwind for the break opportunity. Time has expired. So being able to score here and put up another point ahead of half, it's like that Bill Belichick halftime conversion to score and then receive out of half.
That's been deadly for years.
Although I believe the Monarchs will be receiving out of half here. Acrobatic catch by Evie Clement.
Nonetheless, nice to work Bill Belichick into the broadcast. Munson with a great in cut. Again, trying to be chilly with that frisbee. Don't do so.
A turn, and
that's,
that should be the half.
It is. And we're gonna catch you after halftime, start of the third, as the Rising try to close things out, up 10-3.
Impressive quarter from the Rising.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
And welcome back to the second half of play here in beautiful Portland, Maine, between the 1-4, 1-3 Portland Rising and the 1-3 Milwaukee Monarchs. I almost said Montreal there. Oh, different M city. As we get back to play here, we're going to flash some highlights from the first half. Or we're not, and we're going to get right into... Oh, there's the highlights. Rising had a great first half, capped by an incredible second quarter in which they allowed no points to the Monarchs and got out to a 10-3 lead. They've proved that they can play upwind, and that's really been the difference maker here today. And I will bring your play-by-play announcer, Chuck, back in as the Monarchs receive the pull to start the second half.
Couldn't help but think about... and that is... not how you want to start a half.
More of the same from the Monarchs.
Almost took my breath away there. But as we get started with a deep flick for the Rising. Great defense, though. There, get one back. Restart on the half here. Restart as Cassie takes over for the Monarchs.
The Monarchs really just got to stop the bleeding and not focus on anything besides let's get our pride back here. Let's work it downwind, make the throws, and score.
Sounds easy when you say it like that, Brunch.
They've shown the ability to move it. They just, every single time they do it, they get, there you go, for the score.
All right, that's a great start for the Monarchs. They needed that, didn't they?
Way to stop the bleeding. That should hopefully give them some confidence and give them a chance to put up some points here in the second half. Already off to a better start than they had in all of the second quarter.
Good D, better O. Monarchs, 4-10.
we'll have to take a moment to shout out some of our sponsors. Discraft Ultimate. The Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports.
As Thunderstruck rips through the arena. Monarchs need a little Thunderstrike of their own.
You know, at this point, it's. I mean, they still have a whole half to stage a comeback. I've seen it done.
Yep.
The Rising have done it multiple times over the past 2 seasons. But it really starts with proving to yourself that you can work the disc upwind for a score, which I think they're capable of doing. It's just, you know, stringing together that possession, which they've been getting kind of in their way. And there's the D, right? All of a sudden they score and they get some confidence and they generate that D.
And that's that zone. They're gonna try as hard as they can not to let you get those cuts right up the middle.
And this is the time to strike, right? Rising coming off that huge quarter, gets pretty loose at halftime, starts thinking about
Way to stay with it there from the Monarchs.
the end of the game, but
Just out of bounds. But you're absolutely right.
they need to turn back on and get back to that scoring instinct they had in the first half.
Oh, good catch there. Rising comes down with a floaty disc that was not meant for the cutter who came down with it. As they rip a flick all the way down the field, they're going to have to make the Monarchs go 70 yards. As the sun
80
is...
yards.
80 yards.
10 to 10. But, you know,
You're used to the full 100. Playing linebacker. Oh, I'm sorry, kicker. Equally as important. As the Monarchs quickly get it up halfway.
and that's number 13, Cassie Duty, who made that throw. Notice that she's been running hard. Not one of the, fatigue not showing with her.
Timeout. Is that right? All right, a timeout.
Timeout on the field.
And I'm not sure who called that. The Monarchs seemed a little surprised when they heard the timeout. Maybe that was a Rising call, but I can't see who called that.
It was a Monarch call.
Okay.
I believe you do need to be possessing the disc to call a timeout. The difference is, though, where the confusion came from. A lot of these players play club and are used to having the timeout always come on the field. But with the PUL, the timeout could come from the sideline from a designated coach.
And is this where you, what do you expect? That was a quick meeting from the Monarchs. I know they don't have all day with these timeouts, but what do you expect went through that?
Well, I think
conversation?
they took that timeout to get the offensive line substitute on the field. You see Cassie
Back in there.
Cassie Brown back in there in the center. Disc's going to be picked up. I believe that's 00 Eileen Duffner. They've been handling all day.
Yep.
And Rose Glinka has kind of been back, number 5, to assist where needed.
Maybe they could have used a couple of those instances in the first half, and that was a good call.
They
the
line up in
Monarchs
there.
coaching
Yeah,
staff.
they line up in a horizontal stack here. The Rising players, I suspect, will rotate, especially the ones closer to the disc, and force the Monarchs out. Not there as Munson backs her defender, and there's a turn. So quick timeout call, but unfortunately unable to convert.
Yeah, good first cut out of that play. Just rushed on the dump pass as Rouse gets it up on the sideline. Looking to cross the field, they do so to Clement.
There's no rush here. Rising's been able to get open downwind like right there with Munson streaking deep. So
Maybe a miscommunication there with who's going to get the disc. Cassie looking for that signature flick. A little floaty.
2 Portland Rising defenders.
Oh, and just misses it, but a foul called.
Foul called on the field by the Milwaukee Monarchs.
Didn't look like a great read there by the Rising defense. Monarchs were able to get a hand on it. And it looks like this one might be going back to the thrower, Cassie. And it is.
Emily Cohen on the receiving end. She is one of their top offensive cutters.
Something tells me there's a lot of score connections between those two.
And now's the time for the Monarchs to show that they can score going this way.
Just got a quick 1 out of half. This is going to be huge for them to punch in.
And that's a beautiful put for a score upwind. And that's a great response by the Monarchs coming out of the half.
Olivia Hampton with the score. A couple quick-ish points there for the Monarchs. They cut it to 5.
First upwind score, first break of the game for the Monarchs.
You see some of these teams out of halftime, you get that big lead, come out a little slow. We might be seeing that from the Rising right now. They just need to focus back up and play with a lead here. But now the Monarchs get to play downwind. It'll be a break, but they don't have to work it all the way upwind again.
It's just a little bit of confidence is all you need in this game. It's a game of momentum shifts.
Yep.
And, now they've proven to themselves they can work this way. They get another downwind break here, and all of a sudden they're energized. We have a 10-6 game, and, it's a lot closer than 12-3 or 13-3.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was Cohen on the offensive side.
Remember that point, right? That's kind of that defining point. I suspect that it's going to be that's the big momentum shift right there, that upwind break. In the first half, we saw that with the Rising. Once they got it, they went on a tear, and we'll see if the Monarchs are able to duplicate that same run.
Good pull from the Monarchs. Caught around the 30-yard line.
The Rising running it through number 37, Hannah Henkin.
All the way around to Knowles with a great catch. Gets it quickly back and is looking for a big flick. Knowles to the end zone.
Through the breadbasket.
What a look by Knowles, though. Put it in a great spot. And Monarchs have a chance to cut it to just 4 here, going downwind. With 7:11 left in this third quarter. We see a couple Rising players maybe in a junkie set, trying to force deep, which is surprising going downwind, but seemed to work out. I thought we had a turn, but there's a stoppage,
like
maybe
an
a disc
equipment.
like an equipment issue.
Good call, Chuck. I beat you to it, though.
You did. Yep. I wanted to say a disc issue, equipment issue is much more professional. And the Rising take over at the goal line.
And this is Rising's offensive line. Hannah Henkin, an experienced handler, picking it up for an easy score to Knowles.
Knowles gets the score there after, again, a great look deep earlier in that possession.
And great response from the Rising, right? Like I said, going into that point, that was an opportunity for the Monarchs to really make a run of their own. And the Rising saying, no way, we're not letting you do that. They bring their O-line out, they score upwind, and set themselves up for another downwind point.
Yeah, huge response.
That was a great around throw by Hannah Henkin into the wind. The big target, tall target.
Made
Sophie
it look
Knowles.
easy.
Yeah.
But that's not an easy
No,
throw.
that's not an easy throw. Henkin, having played for a lot of teams over her long career, including Brute Squad. Currently playing for the Bowie Association, a mixed team here in Portland that's comprised of a lot of ex-Nationals club players from Boston who have since moved up to Maine. And younger players as well, but core of experienced.
Yeah. A lot of talented players here on the Rising that are sticking to Maine for their club season. Ooh, Liv player with a big layout. Nearly gets it. That was a ginormous bid.
Rising playing person defense here, forcing away from us.
Oh, that's a great mark there from Rouse. Almost a mark-generated turn.
And you could really tell that they do have more confidence working the disc up now.
Yep.
After that first upwind score just a few points ago.
Monarchs quickly get to the goal line and are looking to punch one in. Ooh, almost a hammer look. Holsters it. Strike flick.
Who else but Cassie Brown?
She's had a couple.
On the assist.
Couple great looks today, capitalized on another, and that Monarch offense looks much better than what we saw in the second quarter. Figured something out at halftime, and it's working. And maybe it is just confidence, right? Wind's dying down a little bit, but there's still something out there. It just seems like they're moving it with a lot more pose.
Yeah, we weren't down on the field. We don't know exactly what was said, but sometimes when you have a tough half like that, like the Monarchs did in this game, you get down on yourself. And at a halftime, you could kind of come together and look at each other in the eyes and say, what's the point of being down? We traveled all this way. It's beautiful outside. We're playing Frisbee with our friends. And it kind of takes the pressure off and lets you just play ultimate, which, looking at the second half, they're just playing, right? It's a high pressure environment traveling across the country in front of an away crowd.
Yeah.
In a place you've never been.
A good sized crowd at that too. This is exciting to play in front of this many people, and
the Rising crowd always shows out. You kidding me? Huge Rising fans.
I've seen you in these bleachers a time or two.
I'm usually the only one standing in the bleachers. Today I get to stand behind the mic.
Which is an honor. We appreciate the opportunity. Stoppage of play here. Gunnar Heckler, our observer, making a call on the field. Maybe a travel call. Stoppage of play going back to the handler. Rising, moving it well up this open side. Gets another strike cut and a good catch, acrobatic. Knowles looking to punch one in. For another assist. Just out of the hands. Looks like that was Colette maybe who was reaching for that one.
Colette, who according to the coaches leads the Portland Rising in plays made. It's a next-gen stat, just like mark-generated turns.
The analytics have
they're starting to ruin the game.
Yeah.
A great poach D turnover by Aaron Ray, who hands it back.
Same spot they were just in.
Yuga Zhao, very confident with the disc. A nice upwind.
And a score. No, like you said, very confident with the disc. And that was a high stall throw, and it didn't seem rushed at all.
Yeah, and Hankin just absolutely crushed her defender, getting open in that upline strike position.
Rising, not backing down. We thought for a second that they may be coming out of half here flat, but doesn't seem like it.
We're going to do a quick read as well for Spin Ultimate, who we forgot to do at the beginning of the quarter. Spin Ultimate is one of our great sponsors. The live broadcast is brought to you by them. They provide custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel. They've been doing it since 2007. You can visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com to get some awesome swag.
I think they call it merch now.
Awesome merch.
Yeah, swag is
outdated.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I went to high school a while ago.
Yeah, clearly.
We used to call it swag.
No.
Now, how long did we would swag merch? There's also drip at some point, or is that
Drip.
a totally different thing?
Yeah, drip is an interesting one. I think you need some sort of jewelry. They call that ice. So you're iced out, and then the outfit's too hot to handle the ice. So you're dripping. You're dripping from the ice.
Okay.
Have I ever been there? No. Nope. I've seen it, but I've never experienced it personally.
Yeah. Well, I hate to put this image into our listeners. minds, but I'm dripping from the sweat in this hot booth up here.
Yep.
But it's not about me.
It's
It's about the players
it's
on the
about
field. And that unbelievable layout D by Olivia Hampton. That was amazing. I mean, she got horizontal, didn't touch the person, clean, gets up and runs and sets the offense up for what should be an easy score here. But nothing's coming easy today.
That was an earned sweat. We're not earning our sweat like that.
No.
Great up line flick look. Liv player punches it in.
Liv player for the score from Wilhelmina Graff. Wilhelmina coming off a college season at Yale, joining the Rising today for their final game of the season.
Probably enjoyed some good pizza in the New Haven area.
Oh, that's right. Some great pizza in New Haven.
Sally's.
I'm reading here that Wilhelmina's actually... No, I'm just kidding. She probably likes the pizza. It's going to make up a dietary restriction for her, but it doesn't say that on our player sheet.
We wouldn't want to make something up like that either.
No. Nothing but truth coming from this booth today.
Hopefully these Monarchs get to enjoy some Portland staples, maybe a lobster roll, some fresh seafood. A lot of great restaurants in the area.
Yeah, great restaurants, great breweries. We mentioned this is the battle of the breweries. Portland has something close to like 50 craft breweries across the city, and I think there's close to 100 in the state of Maine. So us Mainers, we like our beer, but we're not too picky, right? We like the stuff that comes from Milwaukee too.
And we like our ultimate as well.
But I think that in terms of, beer's taste, the craft brew scene here in Portland would beat Milwaukee out.
No, and we wouldn't want to start a war.
No,
that's the last thing we'd want to do.
There's room for both.
Yep, there is. And I might find myself enjoying a couple of both of them after this. As the Monarchs take over, looking to keep things close here in the third quarter. Some great movement so far on this possession.
About 15 yards out from the end zone here. The Rising strong marks, making them throw it up, and Chloe Rouse comes down with us and says, "Get that out of here."
Alex Bollinger, number 22 on the Monarchs, just looking for anything, looking for help there from the handler position and couldn't find any. He just had to throw one up.
Max Huck doesn't work, doesn't quite get it inside out enough to let it really glide upwind. Turns over and gives the Monarchs a shot for the end zone, but Max says, "Not this time. I'm going to make up for the mistake I made."
After taking on that goal line, right in the corner there. Not an easy place to be going upwind.
Mac takes her time bringing the disc up to the
I like that.
to the tough corner here.
Oh, great cut from the handler position. Lost the defender, was able to get open for the strike, and they're off moving it up the open side. Good around there from the Rising, back to Mac on the break side. Continuing to move it well.
Yeah, the Rising have been using the break side effectively all game.
Mac looking to maybe swing that field position again.
That's a result of, making a concerted effort to get the disc there, but also I think some
just a
tired marks from the Monarchs.
Non-forced error, and the Monarchs tried to capitalize on it. Oh, what a...
Spoke too soon, Chuck.
That's a broadcaster's jinx.
A nice late second hand there in front of the receiving player. Caused her to lose focus and drop the disc.
That's a tough catch over the shoulder. Thought she had it. Ooh, Rising sneak one up the middle to Clement. Looking to move it around. Visit each sideline again like they do so well. Rouse breaking deep.
There's that flick that catches the wind right.
What a throw. And oh, Rouse caught a body.
Rouse looking like the Statue of Liberty out there with that catch.
And a great throw along with that. Allowed her cutter, Chloe, to make a play on it. Rouse looking to score. Open on the open side, but gets some help defense.
And the time's up here, so Rising will look to score to end the point. If they turn it, that will also end the quarter and the point.
Mac, a scary catch there.
And a score.
Rising take the third quarter and are going into the fourth 14-6 on top of the Monarchs.
We'll be back with coverage of the fourth quarter shortly.
What are they, spaceships from Mars? No, they're frisbees. Watch it soar. It flies way around like a bird. You can even run for a pass. You can play all kinds of games. Isn't it amazing? Frisbee Flying Saucer. Yours at toy, drug, and department stores.
And welcome back to the final quarter of play here in beautiful Portland, Maine. Where would we be today if it wasn't for Spin Ultimate? This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Spin. Spin Ultimate, providing custom team uniforms and ultimate apparel since 2007. Visit Spin on the web at spinultimate.com. That is S-P-I-N, and as in Nancy, ULTIMATE.com.
Where would we be without Spin? Where would we be without Rich Young? Took a visit into the booth with us. Prominent force in the Maine Ultimate community, setting stuff up like this, along with some big tournaments like Lobster Pot coming up.
He is really the coordinator of events today. He should be wearing a big cape as he walks around, and we should be bowing down.
He should be. Sometimes I'd like to wear a cape, but I don't deserve it. Rich Young deserves it. Portland Rising looking to keep this lead and close things out on top. Close their season out with a win. Be great for these.
What I'd like to see from this half from the Rising is really some sick plays.
Yeah, you got a buffer.
There's a buffer. Give the crowd something to cheer for. End the season off on an exciting note. Go into the off season with all of the highlights being cool catches and throws and Ds. And
yep.
Just make it exciting for the people. You know, we've been out here all season. Very happy to be here, and lots of great plays and great ultimate. And now with this buffer, let's have some fun here in this final quarter of the season.
You need something for the gram in the off season.
Yeah,
too.
exactly.
As
recruitment.
the Monarchs punch one to nobody, high stall count there, but it's all about the gram these days, all about the follower counts.
Yep.
And
Not- Yep.
we've been in the game.
Yep. On the Monarch side of the disc, this is not their last game, so I'd like to see them kind of get their mojo back, get some confidence as they head into their final tilt in next week or in a few weeks back in Madison.
And is this a quarter where maybe you always want to win the game, but let's see some play going into next week. Let's
Yep.
see something to build off here in this quarter, even if we don't win things. Get some good play that we can use for our next game.
Yeah, for sure.
As the Rising continue to move that disc,
Ooh, there's our first upside down of the game. Always gets us excited.
And gets it all the way to the break side. It's a great use of it. Great job moving it line to line as they looked for a deep put and a great defensive play there by the Monarchs. 52, Annie Shriver, a local legend, a New Englander. Rare
Yeah.
to see that from the Milwaukee team, but fun fact of hers was brother Michael also playing Ultimate at Tufts University.
And another player on this field whose brother plays at Tufts University is William McGrath, whose brother Oscar plays at Tufts. Both of those guys, Michael and Oscar, competed at college nationals this weekend. Not a great showing for Tufts.
But good to get there.
My alma mater, but yeah, good to get there. Haven't been there in a couple of years. Hopefully they can build on it. It's still a young team. Oscar is only a sophomore at Tufts.
Yeah, we called that game, like we said, against Northeastern there at regionals, and both teams looked good, but that Tufts team is scary going forward. They got a lot of good young talent.
And I don't know about the Monarchs team, but I know the Rising team has a number of college players who also aren't here today, playing in nationals for their colleges, as well as some of their players coaching teams
Right.
at nationals. I know one of Rising's staple handlers on offense, Megan Wilson, also known as Moose. She's out in Cincinnati coaching the Tufts Evo at nationals, who are having a better showing than the E-men. Stoppage of play, looks like a timeout. I want to shout out one of the Yuga Zhao, who I believe at the beginning of the game said would be a player to watch. She's been
Dominant.
playing very, very stable. A staple for this handler. You're looking at me like you want to ask me a question.
Well, there's a great fun fact
Yeah?
with you guys as well. Name has every vowel in it, including Y.
Wow.
How often do you see that?
Did you just find that? Did you just figure that out?
I just did.
Wow.
No, well, Hugo was nice enough to share that with us
Oh,
in a
okay.
fun fact sheet
Oh,
prior to the game. No, I would not have caught on to that.
you're really attentive to the alphabet.
A lot of good fun facts here. We appreciate the players putting in the time to fill that out, have some fun with it.
Yeah, and Yuga's also a college coach. She coaches the Harvard women's team along with Erin Ray, teammate. Both having a great game today. Erin's got a few scores, and I know Yuga's thrown a couple. I think she's thrown a couple to Erin. Oh, and that was a nice layout D.
No claw, good clean play there.
And that's Olivia Hampton. That's a couple for her today. Demanding the disc on defense.
And we talk about the Ox. Hampton does have the pregame playlist for the Rising, so she could be the one behind all these great tunes.
Yeah, so when the Rising get off to a bad start,
Ooh,
blame it on the music.
no bangers in the playlist.
Nope.
Oh, what a fake. Rising trying to punch one in, create a bigger barrier, and they do so.
Nope.
They don't.
Not in.
Just get so excited when they get close down there. We're on the
And-
lead. (15-6) here. 7 to go in the fourth quarter. have to imagine this small lineup from the Monarchs are feeling the heat.
Oh, that was an awesome D by Olivia Hampton. That was like chest high. She got up and made that play with the disc up towards the head, near the head level of the receiving player, and that's a hard layout to do. Usually you see the layout Ds coming on lower thrown discs where you can really extend, and then that time she got up with her hand and made that D, and then on the way down got hit in the head too by the offensive kick in the head, which didn't affect her. She got up and was on her way just like she did on the last layout D.
Hard to commit to those high layouts. Giving your body up like that is
impressive defensive play by Olivia Hampton today.
Very. Monarchs take back over. Looking to squeeze a couple in here before the end of regulation. Duffner moves it up the field well to Cassie. And looking to take a shot, does so, and that's a beauty. Whoa! What a layout from a Cassie flick. That is Cohen. Who else? That is a connection unlike any other. As they look to punch it in and do so. What a play.
Wow. And that play might end up on the top 10 reel for this week's PUL.
I want a replay of that one, Brunch. Great
we'll
technical staff here. We'll probably put that on the screen shortly. Let's take a look. That's a flick from the 40.
Wow, that's
on a line, and Cohen layout with the right hand.
That's one of those season-defining Graham highlights.
Followers are going to love that.
And another dance session here. If you can hear the music in the background, the world-famous Portland Rising Rise Up dance. Can't keep myself from dancing up in the booth.
Unbiased still, just a dance. Boy, they move fast.
And this dance was, I believe, created, I'm sure I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, but it was created by Jenny and Caitlin O'Connell for last season. Jenny's still in the stands leading the cheers. Caitlin is on the field now playing for the Rising.
Well choreographed. Not a lot of dancing bones in this body, though. You were moving it all right up here. I saw you.
Yeah, usually in the stands.
Maybe treating the folks at Bubba's Sulky Lounge later to a couple dance moves as well.
If you're ever in the Portland area, we got, as we said, good beer, good food. We also got Bubba's Sulky Lounge, which is a place like no other.
Maybe the sulkiest of lounges.
Don't mean to give them a shout out without a paid sponsorship, but they're a staple.
Yeah, nope.
It's more like a historic landmark at this point.
Yeah, correct. No free ads. As Gunner resumes play on the field. Rising, Alana Schwarm taking over. Good dump there.
That's a great reset sequence from Rising, but Hankin
big windup
tries
on
to
that
throw
backhand.
a tough breakside huck there to Sophie Knowles.
But you said you want to see big plays this fourth quarter.
I do. No, I like it.
The buffer. Let's see some action, and I like the attempt.
I know if I was out there, I'd be hooking the disc every time I had it.
Yep, that is for sure. Good around for the Monarchs. Back to Hannah Frank. Ooh, a little contact there. No call. Good no call. We have Cassie is streaking deep from the Monarchs. Was wide open there for a second. Nobody's picked it up. And we have a streaking Sydney French.
Ooh. Good attempt.
Good cut. I think that came from the handler position. That's a long run for the handlers. Rising takeover on their end zone and an immediate turn.
A nice mark generated turn.
Mark
the
it
hand
down.
block.
Mark it down. Hannah Frank taking back over for the Monarchs. Looking for 99.
Ooh, nice little break throw.
Is
And the
that
score.
Dubs Demert or is that Goretzky with the point?
Dubs Demur with the score.
You have to join along.
And we got a little Portland Rising compilation for you coming up. This is the defense compilation.
Seen a lot of great defensive plays out of
Boom, there's
players
that
on
layout
Rising.
you were talking about.
One of the more impressive plays today.
Shoulder high.
Look at that. Got 2 angles on that. Olivia Hampton will be adding that to her highlight reel.
Boom. And there's that kick in the head.
Another view. Getting up high like that is so tough.
And that's, we've seen a lot of turns today. Rising, getting those turns and scoring on those turns. I'd love to see the numbers off on the points off those. 4 minutes left in regulation. Monarchs coming off a nice little point there. As the Rising try to keep building on their 7-point lead. Some good movement so far.
Exploded there after that throw.
Knowles looking for the disc again. Can't get it. Back all the way around, changing fields. Great job of that. They do a good and a turn off it. But that's a great movement. We've seen that a lot today of them switching fields so easily and
Great at
effectively.
attacking the break side. Just how you want to play your vert. Great mark there.
Good attempt at the layout.
Don't call it a mark generated turn. Right by the end zone.
Ooh,
And a
good.
score 2 throws later.
Little shimmy shake there.
Colette
for
Pellegrini.
Yep. Playmaker. Oh, this is a little YMCA. Usually you see this over to the left at Hadlock Field. Slug of the Sea Dog leading the crowd on.
I'm going to do my best to not sing it to you all. Let the
Hard
village
not to.
people handle that. This crowd's ready to party.
Little Saturday
On
night
this
in Portland,
long
Maine.
weekend. We got a nice 80-degree day coming tomorrow. Beach weather here in Portland.
Beach or lake brunch?
Well, because we're playing the Monarchs, I'm going to have to say beach.
Ooh.
Back up the Portland beaches here. We have lakes in Maine as well, but so does Milwaukee.
I guess they have lake beaches too, but not quite the same.
Probably better. Not salty.
And rocky.
Yeah. You been to Milwaukee before, Chuck?
Haven't.
Quick note to the crowd at the end of this quarter.
Yeah, they usually have us calling games in Portland. Haven't made the trip out to Milwaukee to call a PUL game yet.
Happy to.
Yeah, I'd be happy
If
to.
anybody's listening. Oh, we have an exciting compilation.
Our
for you.
technical crew is really pulling out all the stops, communicating to us some of the compilations we have coming up here, and we're back here clueless, like, what are you telling us? But meanwhile, on the screen we got some amazing plays. Not right now. Well, it'll be coming up here,
Yep.
but
After this point,
they just passed the message to us, and we're slowly getting a clue back here.
some of these, I look at them, and you can do that?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Not our expertise, but that's why they have us on the mic.
And as the time winds down here, we're at about 2 minutes, the fourth quarter of PUL games. We'll have a buzzer beater opportunity. So basically, if the disc's in the air, when the time runs out, once the disc comes down, play is over. Or if someone's holding it, then play is over.
Stoppage of play, stoppage of clock.
Disc going back to Evie. She's got Lauren Bacher back with her, as well as Olivia Hampton.
Gonna have to talk to Evie after this game. No fun facts for her. That's disappointing. I know she has some too. That's the sad part.
Chloe to Bacher. Bacher's another player with a lot of experience.
Great job moving that disc across the field again.
Looks like Evie has put on a mustache for this last point.
I think she's had it the entire game.
Has she really?
Yep.
It looks really good on her.
Yeah. Portland, a little bit of a mustache city, wouldn't you say? I've seen a lot of mustaches recently.
Yeah, you had one.
Yeah. Until it became popular.
Yeah.
You got to stay ahead of the curve.
You're a trendsetter. You're not a follower.
That's correct. Mustache breaking the mark there.
Mustache Clement. Mustachio. And there's Haley Suho with a disc. Getting some action here at the end of the game. Haley's a first-year player on the Portland Rising. Really excited to be on the squad this year.
Another catch for
And
her.
a captain of the local Sunken Circus mixed club team here.
Backhand to Clement up the line. Let's see if they can't feed one in here.
Got about a minute on the clock, so plenty of time.
Munson with the score.
And the crowd goes wild for Sam Munson's first PUL goal. And now on your screen, we're going to flash some of today's awesome layouts.
Who Let the Dogs Out? A great song behind this compilation because there's dogs in every one of them.
That looks to be number 30, Jean Wong. And there's, I think that's Colette making a play. Yep. Colette Pellegrini, the playmaker. That's Yuge Mack with that inside throw to Lauren Bacher. Lauren Bacher with a throw out to Munson for the incompletion, but great form.
It's a layout.
Evie with a twisting acrobatic catch. Sophie gets horizontal and eats the grass. Fully horizontal. Wow. Humans aren't meant to fly like that. There's a foot first slide. Wow, we got a lot of bodies on the ground today. It's been exciting. I called for more. That was Olivia Hampton's first layout D. Also very impressive, but the second one we looked at was even better.
How about that compilation from our tech team? A little round of applause. I'm not going to clap, but folks can.
They could do, the PUL can do a top 10 layouts just from this game alone today. Number 10 would probably be the dropped one, but it looked good, so
Munson always keeping form.
Yeah.
And when you lay out, I mean, form's important. You don't want to injure yourself.
No. Clean layouts today. I mean, we had that one with had some contact on it, but
it's not a contact sport, but it's not a contactless sport either.
Ooh.
We have a little wave going in front of us.
This crowd is having fun and ready to party. All right, we got.
Clock's still running.
We got about 20 seconds left. Rising's going downwind, which tells me they should start. I mean, they should send someone deep now, just to have them in the end zone, ready for that buzzer beater.
Let this place go nuts. Huh?
Let's finish the season off on a fun high note.
Might break out a Mike Breen bang if I see something like that.
Oh yeah. All right, Rising, about 15 seconds. They're starting to go deep here, and there's that throw.
Looking for the end zone.
Oh!
Just off the fingertips. That was loading
and just
up.
like that, we're gonna come to an end here.
What a day it has been here in sunny Portland, Maine. Portland Rising take this one 17-8 to end their season. Monarchs look to bounce back in their next game to end it. Brunch, it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, Chuck. Rising showed up to play today. They take home the cheese. We're wishing everyone out there a happy Memorial Day weekend. Celebrate safely. And until next year, this has been Chuck and Brunch with your 1-2 punch.
Thanks, everybody.